Hello, I'm Donna Huffman from McDowell County Public Library, and today we are going to be casting on stitches for knitting. I have a size 3 yarn that I'm using and then a size 6 needle. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to cast on about 20 stitches, and we need to make that loop. Okay, so what we want to do here is bring our shorter yarn out to the left and then put the needle through the loop, and then you want to put your thumb and your pointer finger, just put them between the yarn, and then you'll be catching the yarn with your lower 3 fingers, and you want to go under and then bring it over and through. And let's do that again. We go under, over, and through. And that gives our stitches over here. Right now we've got 3. Under, over, and through. And we'll continue to do that until we have 20 stitches. Okay, and now we are on our 20th stitch. Okay, and then I usually try to count them and make sure I've got this number of stitches I wanted on there. And then we'll go with knitting the next time we meet. Thank you all for being with us today. I have already cast on some stitches here for our little coaster, and what I'm using is the cotton yarn, and it is a size medium yarn, and it says to use a size 7 knitting needle, but I've got a size 6 here and it should come out fine. You can kind of gauge with your needles once you get started into knitting. You can kind of gauge the yarn and the needle, what you want, how you want it to come out. And we want a little tighter stitch on this, so I have already put on 20 stitches with the long tail cast on. And the first knit stitch will be right through here. Kind of put the right hand needle underneath, pick up your yarn, put it under and around the right hand needle, and then push it back through underneath and off. And then just do that again. And you will need to kind of pull it a little once you get started. And I like to keep account of my stitches also. If you don't, you may skip a stitch or add a stitch. And you wouldn't have to necessarily every row, but just kind of keep up with it a little bit. And then as you go along, you will get the hang of it where you can go faster. And as you go along too, you need to pull these stitches down a little bit and push these up where they're easier to catch with the right hand needle. Okay, so we've got to the last stitch here. Okay, and then you kind of pull it out and straighten it up a little bit, and then turn it over. Pull this left hand needle to the right hand, and then just start that same stitch over again for the next row. And the first few rows do seem to be a little tighter, and once you get going, they loosen up a little bit, and it's easier to maneuver them, the stitches.
Miss Donna, will you do one of the stitches in slow motion to show us?
Okay.
Very slowly.
You take the right needle underneath, bring your yarn around the right needle, and then I take my finger and push it through underneath that stitch and pull that stitch off the left needle.
It's easier now that you have some stitches already done to be able to see the stitches, how you...
It is, and how they're going to look once you get it done. Okay, and we've got to the last stitch of that row. And just pull it off. And I like to pull this a little bit. And then I straighten those stitches up, and then turn it over, turn your needle over, and then start the next row. Okay, and if you don't have access to needles and thread, we will be having some
needles here.
some needles and
Yes.
thread here at the library that you can pick up.
Yes.
Here in Old Fort or Marion, either one.
Yes. Both branches.
Okay.
We'll have everything ready for you if you need it.
Yes. Okay, so that's the third row. And you can see how the stitches are coming along here on both sides. This is the knit stitch, so it will look this, a little different on each side. This is also called the garter stitch. And once you get it completed, you will see the difference in it. Probably go about 20 rows, I would say, to make a square for this size, and it could be a coaster to sit on your end table or whatever, or your nightstand, whatever you want to do with it. And we thank you all for being here today.